Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check it out. We sit down with the one and only Molly Ellmore and have an incredible conversation. She talks to me about so many things. We're going to give you a couple videos. I got to break this thing up because we had such an incredible conversation. And by the way, not only is she uber smart, she asked some great questions, and you can't be smart without asking great questions anyway. But in this particular video, we're going to discuss the possible outcomes of the SEC versus Ripple case and what some of the key components are about the outcome of that case. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not done it, time is running out. I'm telling you right now, listen, this door is going to close on this deal. It's the first of the year, but this deal is not staying open forever. I know your life is busy. Get your time back with the community and all the tools to achieve the goals that you need in this digital asset space, or with wealth and mindset, because that's what we deal with in here. Wealth creation and mindset, as well as crypto. On-demand classes around investing, mindset, and digital assets. Weekly live streams you don't want to miss. Full access to the private Telegram group, VIP ticket to a live event with annual subscription, and save 1 month tuition with the annual subscription. Right now, you can choose between the monthly and the yearly investment in yourself. Don't mess around, ladies and gentlemen. Click that link underneath the video. Let's get started here. This is going to be an incredible video. Shout out to Molly Ellmore for sitting down with me. And she is a huge teacher, instructor, and part of the support network inside the Digital Perspective Mastermind group as well. What a bright mind. What a great conversation. Take a listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's talk about this case for a minute here. Can we talk about this case?
Sure.
So, okay. I see look, there's multiple outcomes. God bless Jeremy Hogan. God bless James Filan. Shout out to Jim. And God bless John Deaton, who is the field general who picked up the baton off the ground and said, I'm doing this. And now he's doing it for library. And the truth is, in every instance, he's really doing it for everyone in crypto, whether they know it or not. Right? So it's not just about XRP holders. So I'm serious. I mean, it's like very grateful for his effort. But here's what I want to say about it. Like, we know that there are possible couple dozen outcomes the way that case could get split up and ruled on. They could have a ruling and then a settlement on that ruling, right? They could have, a ruling in a couple different parts and go to trial on the one part of the ruling and the other part get cleared and move forward, right? There could be a fine. There's just multitude of possibilities for outcome there. But I believe, look, if we're right, and this thing is going to have all the money on it and coming across it, I do believe everything at some point runs across the ledger. Because I think we have to move to a place in the world where you see, just like we have the internet that all of us use, like we're using today, right? And then there's the dark web, which I do not go on.
I don't know how to get there.
Yeah, and no one else does either, hardly, unless you're interested in doing very bad things, right?
Right.
And we don't go there. Well, I think the same thing's going to happen with value protocols. I think the XRP ledger will be a public good, as it already really is, and it will be revered as such. And I also believe that through regulation, it will be regarded as such even more so, because it'll be held to a heightened level of prudential regulation, right? And that's where your consumer confidence and your business confidence and institutional confidence comes from, to use that network. Because if something were to happen or go wrong through the regulation and compliance and all of this, there's going to be accountability at some point. And you can count on that, right? So I think that's where we're moving to. So just like we have the internet and the dark web, we're going to have the same thing with the internet of value and then the dark web of value. and you could choose to go over here, but you're taking a chance because you don't know what's going to happen if you're fooling around on those protocols, as opposed to the 4 or 5 that might make it through to where we're going into the future. That's just my overview. But in order for that to happen, I believe that this case has to go one or two ways in a macro sense. It either gets systemically important financial market utility definition, a SIFMU, like FSOC can do, which is, again, coming back to the architect, Michael S. Barr, former Ripple advisor, now the VP of the Federal Board of Governors, right? Who's also architecting the legislation for stablecoins, right? So it either gets a systemically important designation, either after a settlement or some kind of ruling at this level, government places that designation on it, conversation over. They don't need Congress's approval to do this. Elizabeth Warren been begging them to do it all summer. And then if you look at it and go further, then I think if it doesn't go that route, then there's going to have to be some kind of appeal or such from one side or the other that takes this case on up the road to the appellate court and then possibly to the Supreme Court to keep a legal dog leash on this new money that is not backed by any state or any government, right? And I want to jump in here because I want to show you where I get this idea from. I'm going to play a clip for you now from Caroline Pham from the CFTC talking about the conversation that's happening in government and regulators' offices and meetings about the exact point that I just made. Take a listen.
Serious concern that I've found about national security and about American competitiveness. And I think that's very compelling. I found it to be very sincere. And I think that's something that we can't forget either.
Actually, maybe just to quickly pick up on the national security element, because that's, I've heard like a national imperative. It's important for our own like economic standing to remain on the forefront of innovation. But how does that fit into national security for you?
I think when you look at traditional schools of thought around geopolitical power, you have, of course, military power, and you have economic power, and you have the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. So I think people are very concerned that should, because of these innovations in digital assets in particular, if there really is a movement towards certain stablecoins, for example, payment stablecoins that are not clearly they're not digital fiat because that would be a CBDC. And they're also not tokenized commercial bank money. And so if there's ambiguity over that regulation and over what those stablecoins might be, people are really worried that that's going to be a movement away from the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. And that is a national security issue for the United States, as well as a deeply monetary policy issue as well. So that's just one example. But of course, if you have other things, if you have innovation, if you have capital investment, if you have talent, all moving offshore, that
it'll come back.
That people see as a concern as well. And you've seen that with other sectors that have moved offshore that can put the U.S. at a competitive disadvantage. It can be detrimental, to our standing in the world. And I think from COVID, you've seen some issues when you've had we've got a lack of onshoring facilities. And so This is really, I think, things that people are thinking about, and it's things that people are concerned about. And I think there are also concerns about what does it mean, again, from a geopolitical perspective, if should another currency arise as the world's reserve currency, or if there's a non-state currency, so to speak, that becomes a world's reserve. That's another thing that I think people are very concerned about.
So there you have it. I mean, that is CFTC regulator telling you exactly what we talk about on YouTube all the time. Now let's get back to our conversation with Molly Ellmore. Then I think if it doesn't go that route, then there's going to have to be some kind of appeal or such from one side or the other that takes this case on up the road to the appellate court and then possibly to the Supreme Court to keep a legal dog leash on this new money that is not backed by any state or any government, right? And that way they can revisit this over the next couple years and they can come back to it and say, you know what? It is doing exactly the way we intended it to do. Nothing went wrong. you're allowed to move forward. They bless this thing, Dotimus Lata Quotus, whatever it is, and this thing runs off to the races. And it really is a bridge currency at that point, not just a payment token. And that doesn't mean, people hear me talk about it going to the Supreme Court and they think, oh my God, it's never going to get out of this situation. It doesn't mean, if that avenue were to take place, that U.S. adoption couldn't take place. And that's what I think people should really think about a lot, is that it could be an appeal and get the blessing and a decision that allow Ripple and XRP to take right off with U.S. adoption, as well as they have on the other side of the world. And then it's getting revisited at an appellate level and possibly a Supreme Court level and get a final decision. The reason I come back to why I say that is because when this case first dropped, Molly, Stuart Alderati, Ripple General Counsel, put out a tweet that said, "Goodbye Howey test, hello Ripple test." Well, the Howey test came from the Supreme Court. So there we are. Right. So, where this thing goes, I don't know, and I don't pretend to know. But those are the things that I think about, and it doesn't scare me. And I don't think it should scare other people, because if we understand nothing, the SEC quite possibly might be the greatest barometer for what to buy and invest in. Not financial advice from me, but they sued Microsoft. Right? They sued Tesla. They sued Amazon. Those companies went on to do amazing things, and they're suing Ripple. So I'm not going anywhere until they land this plane.
JP Morgan gets sued all the time. They don't seem to care.
They don't seem to care. And you talk about the level of arrogance, right? They got caught manipulating the silver market and the U.S. Treasuries market.
And the gold market.
Yeah.
They were the spoofing thing. Yeah.
They don't care.
That's why I don't have a lot of confidence in this Basel III, Basel IV thing with making the U.S. banks have to hold on. They have no problem not doing what they're supposed to do.
I know it's funny. It's the fox watching the hen house, right? I need you guys who don't do anything fiscally right and use fractional lending to do this right. Oh yeah, well, we're on it. Sure. Yeah. Well, here's the Basel III agreement right here.
Here's our audit. Yeah, we have all the gold.
We got it all. You know what I mean?
My cousin did the audit.
Yeah.
He's good for it. He's a good guy.
Yeah, and it's like it's so if it wasn't for the tragedy of the customers involved in the FTX thing, it's literally the FTX thing is a microcosm of what's wrong with the banking world, right? So yeah, it's just unbelievable. Hey, look, there you have it right there. What a great conversation it was. And I'll continue to bring clips of that. Shout out again to Molly Ellmore, and you'll hear more from her and not just myself on that one. But that's going to do it for me. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just our digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.